This is Sneaker Gears. My name is Levi, and welcome to another Performance Gears episode where we are looking at the fourth generation of the Paul George signature shoe, the Nike PG4. All right, today's performance comparison is going to be a little bit different. We have a lot of shoes we're going to be comparing it against, and full disclosure, I spent about 7 hours, maybe a little over, in performing in the shoe on 3 different courts, and honestly, starting with the fit, I don't have the shoe anymore simply because I returned it to get another shoe where I wanted to give that sneaker another opportunity. So if you're following me on Instagram, you probably know what that shoe is. And if you believe, well, Levi, you don't have the sneaker in hand, I can't listen to you. Apologize, not clickbait, go ahead and turn the channel off. Appreciate your time. But if you want to stick around, hopefully I can give you guys some good information on if your PG4 is going to be a good fit for you. So starting with the fit, phenomenal. It is absolutely amazing. The only caveat, and it's funny how a lot of people are not really talking about it, the PG4 is going to fit kind of how the PG1 did. So the same way this has kind of that booty construction where it was kind of difficult and annoying to get on, same thing. But, and here's the huge but, once you get it on your foot, it is amazing. Whether you have a narrow foot, a wide toe box, if you have a flat foot, it doesn't matter. It molds and it fits beautifully. You can torque it down if you have a narrow foot. You can open it up. You can not zip it if you have kind of a taller instep. But the huge caveat is just getting it on. So this is definitely one of those shoes where you want to be able to get it from a place where possibly you can return it, simply because you can go true to size. But if you have a taller instep, which is the height of your foot, if you have a little bit more girth to your foot, which is the width on the top part, if you have maybe a chunkier heel or a swollen ankle, where if your foot cannot get into this opening, you're just not going to be able to wear the shoe. Now, I was able to go with a 12.5, which is technically a half size up. I'm a 12 wide, so for me, I treat 12.5 as kind of my true size. Now, for reference's point, I had to do a 13 on every single PG3. This is a 13. This guy's a 13. Do I have it over here? Yeah. That is a 13. Now, this is the most narrow one to date. The PG4 is probably the most wide foot friendly, but they did put this kind of booty construction where it's just difficult to get on. Once you get it on your foot, absolutely fantastic. The lockdown, the containment, the way it feels on your foot is one of the best Nike has done so far. If you like the fit of the Greek Freak or the Zoom Freak one, you're going to really enjoy this even more so. And overall, for the same price at $120, I think Nike is giving you a lot more performance. Now, let's kind of move on to the materials. That was a big thing with the PG line. With the PG1, it was noted for having kind of these raw materials, having an overlay, the construction. It was not overkill, but it was one of these, like, you felt like you got a lot for your money. Moving on to the PG2, I think they kind of kept that up. You had this nice kind of suede, you had raw materials in the back, and again, it became just this market synonymous, the PG line. You just got a lot of value for your money. You got unlocked zoom, you have raw materials, you have amazing traction. The PG1 traction was good, the PG2 traction was great, the PG3 traction is Hall of Fame. We'll get to that at the end of the video, but the materials on this were one of the worst last year. Absolutely awful. I think Nike learned their lesson. What we're getting on the PG4 is very similar to what Nike has done with the Why Not line, where the Why Not 2 and even the Why Not 3, it doesn't use anything that is a luxury or high-end materials, but it feels strong, it feels high performance, and it's something you can really enjoy. So you kind of let it slide. It's okay. Now, the Gatorade version here used kind of a little bit of patent leather, and I love how the materials are pretty much a blank canvas. We should get some really cool colorways. So, all right, working our way down to support. Overall, really solid shoe, except for one glaring huge aspect, and that is it doesn't have a shank plate. Now, in my first run of the shoe, I wanted to bring a shoe that is going to be kind of its closest competitor, and that's not going to be the PG1, 2, or 3 because they all had a 4-foot zoom. So I brought with me kind of what I showed you guys in the first video of the year, the Jordan 2011 with the full length, see if I can show you guys there, Air insole, which is essentially what the PG line is, and I use that in conjunction with the Kobe 8. This is kind of cheating, so shouldn't have been as fair as it should be. This is $160, one of the best shoes ever, and you have a cushion set up from another $200 shoe. So again, not quite apples to apples, but I wanted to get a feeling on how much better the PG4 would be, obviously so many years later, as well as get an idea for the support, considering this has its own shank plate on the bottom for rigidity, has its own solid heel cup, on top of having another carbon fiber. So this is overkill while also being really light and really low to the court. So how do they compare? Every 20 minutes, my plantar fasciitis would flare up. Seriously, it was really weird. So I played in the PG4s. After about 20 minutes, my feet started to hurt a little bit, so I swapped back into these. Put this on, played about 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, they're feeling better. I'm okay. Let me put one back on. So I played with literally a PG4, say on my right foot, and this on my left. And my right foot would start hurting about 15-20 minutes later. I then proceeded to swap shoes again. So I had a Kobe on my right, a PG4 on my left. Same thing, right around that 15-20 minutes. So essentially, I gave it about an hour and a half play my very first time out, and it was something where I highly recommend, and this fixes the shoe, I think, where it goes from a good shoe to a really good shoe with any kind of insole. Take out the factory insole. Now the one it comes with is actually really thick, and I'll get to that in the cushion section, but if you remove that insole and you put in something that has its own rigidity to it, whether it's a custom orthopedic version, or if you have anything from Superfeet where it has its own arch support, or even using our Velocity Raptor insoles, which I did the following day, any option is going to give you a better experience as far as supporting your foot the way it needs to be, especially if you're wearing it for basketball. If you're wearing these casually, then don't even worry about it. So just a heads up, for the support, it's a flat base, really wide. Unless you land on someone's foot, it is way more stable than something like the Kobe Pro 4, than the PG3 or PG2, which had a little bit of roundness to it. It's a lot flatter. The containment, the lockdown is absolutely fantastic, and the materials definitely hold you in any kind of lateral movements. So make that adjustment, one for the support, and now two for the cushion. I'll get into that right now. And the support goes from being, good to really good. All right, talking about the cushion. So the cushion is a full-length air Strobel. I keep wanting to say Zoom Strobel. And it honestly feels like a rubber mat. Not really. Has some footage here. It feels like you're walking kind of on something hard. You put these on, and it's just a little bit softer. It has a lot of step-in comfort because of the insole. The insole is actually rather thick. Reminds me of the PG1 a little bit, where Nike gave a really thick insole with it. So that step-in comfort's nice. Walking around is nice. It is flexible. It is lightweight. Now, it rides a little bit higher than I thought it would. This is riding closer to, say, something like the KD12 line, which is obviously a lot more cushioned, but I felt much higher than I did in the Kobe, much higher I did than in something like the Kyrie 6. It was something, and even the PG2 that I played in my last time outing, I felt like I was a little bit off the court, so I don't know if I like that, but something you just want to get used to. But what happens is, because it's kind of a firm cushion setup, it still has a lot of court feel. So if you're looking for something where you can play quick, where you want a little bit of that firmer feeling so you can push off, there's no hesitation, it's actually a decent setup. The impact protection is pretty good. Now, I was able to play in these in all my sessions and had no issues during the session. My knees were killing me the next day. I'm talking ice, ibuprofen, full hypervolt, taking care of myself. So I can definitely tell you the impact protection is okay to a certain point. Now, I am 245 pounds, guys. Keep that in mind. If you're more of an average size player where you're 180, 200, 210, you might be just fine, because it does a good job absorbing the impact when you land, when you go on a run, but there is zero energy return. There is zero real feedback. It feels not dead, but it doesn't feel plush either. It's just a slightly soft cushion. Now, the closest competitor that felt very similar, and a lot of you guys may not even know what shoe this is actually, if you believe it or not, Dwight Howard's line. This is the DH I think the 3 or the 4. You guys feel free to correct me, but this had the knit upper. This is using their P Motive cushion from Peak, and honestly these felt really similar, where you had a really good impact protection, kind of firm, where I enjoyed playing in them. It was not a negative on the shoe by any means, but what I can tell you is once I put our Velocity Raptor insoles in there, and I questioned whether I should or not, just because the air is a little bit soft. I didn't know if it would provide the under support to give that feedback and that bounciness that our insoles can provide with that Velocity cushion. Holy crap. Really nice. Really, I was shocked. So not only did I have a really good fit, now I have really good cushion, and our insoles, because they mold to your feet, now gave me the arch support where I had no issues. So again, if you're going to use another insole, or a lot of NBA players, most even college players have custom orthotics where they're molded to their feet, this shoe is going to fit that perfectly and give you that arch support that you need. So the cushion overall is okay. I think a lot of players are still going to like it. You feel quick, it's flexible, it's light, and honestly I think it performs better casually, but make that adjustment, put in the insole, and I think you're going to enjoy it a lot more. All right, finally moving on to the traction. Now this one's interesting. I have a video here showing I didn't have to wipe it that much, but I wiped it after I took them off in the first 30 minutes, and you'll see the dust it collects is crazy. And on the flip side, I wore the Kobe 8s, and it kind of just moved the dust out of the way. When I wiped the Kobe 8s, nothing was on the floor. So it definitely picks up dust, but it's actually pretty good. It reminds me a little bit of really kind of your Jordan CP3 back here, which I have a full review on coming up next. And it does a good job. It doesn't bite as hard as I would like. It's not as durable as the PG3, doesn't bite as hard as the PG3. And you still have to wipe every now and then, but it's way better than pretty much anything at 120 or less. And I'm looking at the Dame 6, I'm looking at the Don 1, I'm talking about the Freak 1, all around that $120 price point. It was a solid traction setup. Now, for $10 more, the Kyrie is going to be better. This has a better bite and about the same amount of wipes, but this I know is going to give you a little bit better bite, and even on dirtier conditions, this has been just spot on. So the traction and overall, the PG4 is definitely one I will be getting again. The Kyrie 6, I don't even think I did my full review on this. This is one I definitely want to do an ID on. I feel like everyone's doing it, but I don't care. This has been a way better shoe than I ever imagined it would be. The PG4 at $10 less. How does it compare? What are you getting? If you're a fan of the PG line, what are you missing? First off, you're not getting Zoom Air. Any kind of bounciness you're used to getting, you're not getting it. There's no Zoom Air on it. It's not as close to the court as any of those, so you're riding a little bit higher, but you're getting something that's light, that's flexible. You're still getting good traction. I don't think it's a letdown on the traction there. You're definitely getting a full low top, whereas this kind of was a mid. This kind of was a little bit higher, wasn't quite a low, but you're getting a full low top experience, which is something kind of like the Freak 1. So at the same price, you're comparing to the Freak 1 and the PG2, or the PG4. PG4, I would say, is going to be better in every single way. This makes the Freak 1 obsolete. Nike needs to come out with the Freak 2 as soon as possible. There is zero reason outside of you aesthetically enjoy the way the Freak 1 looks, or you are just supporting the player because you like the Greek Freak, which hopefully is everybody. That dude is awesome. But performance-wise, on court, the PG4 beats it out of the water. It's not even close. If we're going up $10, how does it compare to the Kyrie 6? Kyrie 6 is going to be lower to the court, has a little bit of that bounce, has a little better transition going from the injected Phylon to that Zoom Air where you feel a little bit more push off. You're getting about the same amount of support laterally. I would say the PG4 is going to be more stable because this still has kind of that rounded outsole. So for me, I personally like that because I feel a little bit quicker, whereas the PG4 is going to give you a little bit more stable, maybe a little more ready if you're a spot up shooter. And this just with the raw materials, I feel you're getting a little bit better materials, but I wouldn't say that's a huge tip. So this is going to be better if you want to feel a little bit more shifty, if you want something that's a little bit more bouncy, and you want that additional support of being a mid top and just having a little bit more materials kind of wrapping your foot, as these still have those two kind of straps right at the lateral point, has the Velcro strap obviously, and just has the nice raw materials that hug and fit your foot really nicely. So for $10 more, I would say it's worth going up. But if you like more of a stable ride, if you want a low top, if you want something that's definitely lighter, and you prefer something where you just feel a little quicker as far as you don't want to bounce, you just want something firm, but that's still going to protect your joints, the PG4 does a great job. Now, one shoe, and again, I have the review coming out next, it's already recorded. The standard by I'm doing most shoes is going to be the Jordan CP3. And what I mean by that is for $100 when this was released, and you can get it cheaper if you can find it, this is just a great all-around shoe. If you're going to charge more, hopefully you're going to be getting more. So this is a good basis. The materials with this being a knit, having some raw materials, being pretty much a herringbone straight through, having zoom air in the forefoot, and a decently comfortable foam ride, there is not much this doesn't do really well. Now, it doesn't mean it's the best at everything, but for $100, this thing is spot on. So for $20 more, what are you getting more with the PG4? You're getting a low top, which just rides a little bit higher. You're getting something lighter, something a little bit more flexible. I would dare say the traction is a little bit better. The materials are not as good, but I'm going to give that a wash. The PG4 still does a good job. And then that cushion setup, you're getting more cushion, but I'm not going to tell you it's a better cushion setup, simply because this with the zoom air and the nice foam setup is pretty even with having a full length air, but that's going to give you something a little bit quicker. So for $20 more, for having little tweaks and improvements, having a style that maybe you appreciate more, having something that is going to feel a little bit quicker and a little bit lighter, more flexible, I can get behind that. Overall, I think the PG4 was a very good shoe, and again, with the caveat, put in your own insole. Whether you want to grab our Velocity Raptor insoles and throw them in there, that's going to vastly improve the cushion, give you the support you need, or if you have your own insole, which works really well because it gives a thick one naturally, so even if you get a custom orthotic, you're gonna have less issues of having that fit. Try it on, guys. Putting it on is a pain. It doesn't have a traditional tongue like what we got with the PG2 and PG3, but if you can get it on, the fit is great, wide foot friendly. There's a lot to like in the shoe, and I can give Nike kudos and the Paul George team and what they did over there. They did a nice job, and honestly the zipper look, I mean, that looks sick. So wait for the colorway that you want. You know what you need to do if you want to improve it as far as getting that insole. And if you guys have any questions, let me know down below. I will be getting another pair in the future here when one catches my eye, but as of now I will be reviewing another shoe I just picked up in its place that I will definitely be keeping. As always, this is Levi with Sneaker Gears. Really appreciate you guys, and I'll come at you later.